Giving me an up-close and personal view. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JoAnne Powell Show. I am JoAnne. We are coming to you from the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM TV, Hollywood. We've got an action-packed show. If you've been watching the news or what's going on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., this morning they have had a Senate Intelligence Committee. We've had those who are directors in the intel community have been speaking before Congress. And tomorrow morning, it's a much-anticipated former FBI Director James Comey will be testifying before the same Senate Intelligence Committee. Everybody has been anticipating what is going to happen, what is he going to say, what he won't say. He's been keeping memos of his conversations with the president, so a lot of people are wanting to know what he's going to have to say. Today, during some of the questioning, they were hoping that some of the intel directors would be a little more forthcoming with some information, specifically following a Wall Street Journal report where basically, according to the article from the Washington Post, as top intelligence officials told associates that Trump had asked the Daniel Coats, the director of the National Intelligence, if he would intervene with Comey with the FBI probe, the Russian probe. So that was one aspect that the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post had basically talked about, and they were hoping to get some clarity, but that did not happen. Some of some members on the committee were a little frustrated, but everyone is anticipating and waiting to hear what Comey has to say. We've got a little preview. Take a look. The White House says President Trump will not invoke executive privilege to try and block the former FBI Director James Comey from testifying before the Senate Intelligence Committee.
The president's power to exert executive privilege is very well established. However, in order to facilitate a swift and thorough examination of the facts sought by the Senate Intelligence Committee, President Trump will not assert executive privilege regarding James Comey's scheduled testimony.
Comey took extensive notes about conversations he had with the president, including a meeting that came the day after National Security Advisor Michael Flynn was forced to resign. Comey claimed the president asked him to drop the investigation, saying, quote, "I hope you see your way clear to letting this go, to letting Flynn go." This was in reference to the ongoing investigation into the ties between the Trump administration and the Russians. Here on Capitol Hill, everyone's waiting to hear what Comey has to say. Adam Schiff, the top Democratic congressman on the House Intelligence Committee, is one of those who will be paying close attention to what Comey says.
I think we're principally interested in learning whether the president took steps to interfere, impede, or obstruct in the investigation in any way.
During an Oval Office meeting last week with Russian diplomats, Trump reportedly called Comey a real nut job, saying Comey's firing lessened great pressure on him regarding Russia. Well, Comey is set to testify tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, which is bright and early here, 7 o'clock Pacific Time. If you would like to watch that, you can go to the JoAnne Powell Facebook page. We'll have a live stream of all the action and activities going on. It's much anticipated. Some people are calling this the political Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens in that arena. So joining me now is political analyst. We are happy to have Bill Snyder joining us. You're actually in studio versus via Skype because you're back here versus in D.C.
That's right. I'm here for the summer.
You're here for the summer. We are so happy to have you, especially with all that's going on. So what is your reaction to the anticipation of what Comey has to say? Everybody is just like on the edge of their seat waiting to hear what he has to say tomorrow.
Well, he's the key guy in all this, and there are lots of pieces of information coming out which are very suspicious, like his request to the Attorney General after a few meetings with President Trump that he not have any more meetings alone with President Trump, because Trump had asked him for his total loyalty. That's inappropriate for an FBI director. He's supposed to be loyal to the law and the Constitution, not to the president. So there are lots of intriguing tidbits going on here, but what we don't know is, does it add up to obstruction of justice? Some of these witnesses appear to see a different difference between being pressured to suspend their investigation and being asked to suspend their investigation, as if one were illegal, the other were not illegal. I'm not sure what that distinction means. It's going to be really up to the legislators to decide.
And that's what some of the discussion was today before the Intelligence Committee with the Intel directors. They were asking them specifically, did the president ask you to interfere with the investigation? And they were implying that they never were pressured.
That's right. And there's a difference.
Answer.
They seem to be saying there's a difference between being asked not to interfere or being pressured, which they acknowledge they did feel pressured.
Yeah, that was something that I guess that, they also said that they didn't feel comfortable talking about that in a public session, but they would be a little more comfortable saying more about that in a private session.
Well, in Washington, nothing is private. We know that. So I'm not sure what that distinction means. If they speak to a closed session, there are plenty of senators in that closed session, and they can't keep their mouths shut. If they see any political advantage, particularly Democrats, if they see any political advantage to letting the information out, they'll say, the public has a right to know what you've said here.
Well, that's the kind of the key. Everybody is really wanting to know what it is on the Republican side and the Democratic side, because either we can lay it to rest or we can move forward. That's kind of like we're in this limbo state, and I think a lot of people were hoping to hear something concrete, because if that indeed is what happened, that the president had asked Coates to do this, that would be a collaborating story to what Comey is anticipated to say.
That's right. And there's sort of two issues going on here. One is whether the president, there's any implication that executive privilege is an issue here. The White House says it is not, but some of these intelligence officials, a couple of them said, well, we don't know if it's involved in executive privilege, so we'll only talk in closed session. That distinction doesn't make a lot of sense. But there's also a criminal investigation going on under Robert Mueller. So sometimes the witnesses will say, I can't say anything pending the result of the criminal investigation.
That is true, but then I know members of Congress were kind of not happy with that answer either. It's right. Because we are conducting an investigation, we are Congress, and you're telling us that you're not going to say, answer the basic question that, from their perspective, didn't seem to tread on that particular investigation. It's just, did he ask you or didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. There are at least two different, and there's also a House Intelligence Committee.
Yes.
So there are 2 or 3 different investigations going on. One of them is criminal, Mueller. Some of the others are political or legislative, and they're all in competition with each other.
That is true, and then everybody's kind of watching what one says. It would seem like it would be effective if everybody kind of did it at the same time, but then everybody needs to have their own space.
This is the United States. We have separation of powers, checks and balances, and we got lots of ambitious people here who want to make a name for themselves, just as happened in the 70s with Watergate. That made a lot of people very famous.
It did. It definitely did. And we're getting to the anniversary of Watergate, and a lot of people are making comparisons to this, and actually some are saying that this is even worse because it involves Russia versus breaking into an office building.
This involves interference by a foreign nation which has never been friendly to the United States in our political process. Watergate was, as was called at the time, Nixon called it a third-rate burglary.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back. You're watching the JoAnne Powell Show, and stay tuned.
If you are an adult that began college and has not finished your college degree, let me put it to you straight. If your lifestyle and your standard of living is not becoming to you, then you should be coming to us, Oakwood University Elite Program. We are the fast, flexible adult degree completion program for the busy adult, like you.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098. It's time to leap.
I'm JoAnne with the JoAnne Powell Show. You're watching the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM Hollywood.
Thanks to Oakwood University and the LEAP program, I have now a college degree. So to the Spanish-speaking members of this community who feel that the LEAP program is something you should consider, I would say, ánimo a la universidad. Considere el programa LEAP de Oakwood University.
Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.
Seize the Day Scuba for your best scuba experience above and below the sea. You'll find friendly staff, experienced PADI certified instructors, and state-of-the-art scuba equipment and gear. Join our dive club and we'll help you plan memorable scuba excursions. Immerse yourself. Seize the Day Scuba, serving Southern California. Call 949-220-0500 to create your scuba experience.
When I first started into the program, yes, I had doubts. I was really impressed with Oakwood University, with the faculty and the staff and the student body. It was a really good experience, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who was thinking about going back and finishing their degree.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.